wake up, man.
Come on, man, wake up.
I don't want to do after hours. Oh man, waking up at 5 a.m. every morning.
We're all waiting.
We're waiting.
Santiago, what do you do?
We're waiting for you. Come on.
We just did the live now. Do you want to do the after hours?
Yeah,
Andy?
no, time. It's time. Come on.
Brian came all the way from.
I flew my, yeah. You know how much the helicopter ride cost?
What time is it?
Gentlemen, welcome. Brian, welcome back. Love your shirt. It's summertime in Vancouver, huh?
Yeah. Andrew came all decked out last week, so I figured I got to up my game for sure.
Yeah, we are raising the bar.
You're raising the bar, yeah. I know, obviously. I got to bring a jacket next week.
I really wish we would, and it's something for Santiago, we could have like a behind the scene before we start, because it's always super chaotic before we start. Andrew was taking a nap, a power nap, I would say.
Taking a power nap. I was so tired. This waking up at 5 a.m. is really catching up with me. And I'm getting good sleep. It's not that I'm not sleeping. I actually went to bed at 10 p.m. and all the way to 5 I had a deep sleep. It's just I'm getting old and I have to accept.
Well, it's hard getting up, but at least it's getting to be summer. It's harder to get up when it's dark out.
No.
You know, waking up now and then it's at least light out, and you think, okay, well, maybe I should be up.
Yeah.
Light out.
Yeah, I mean, the summer is kind of a double-edged sword because it also gets darker at the other end. So, you know, I went out and it was like we were drinking with a couple of friends. It was still light outside, but
people go to beach at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you know, glad you guys are here. Tons and tons of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the market. The GDP numbers came out today. A contraction for the first time since 2020, 1.5% down. Overall, economists were thinking growth of 1%, but we were down 1.5%. But market didn't care. Market ripped. Qs up over 3.5%. SPY up over 2.5%. So a lot of stuff. We would love to hear you guys' opinion. Really, really good show. Hopefully everyone will enjoy it. GDP numbers. Brian, how do you read this? I mean, Andrew and I went live today, try to make sense of it. How do you read these GDP numbers being down but market not caring? Is it because Fed or what's going on?
Well, you know, I think that, it was funny how the market worked today because we were up, we opened up. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like, you know, it was a big surprise, I guess, to investors and traders that we were down. I mean, everybody knew the GDP number was coming out. But it didn't seem to sink in with people. And then as the morning went on, we sold off.
Yeah.
It was a good thing because I had swung some TZA, which is a bear ETF for the small caps.
Yeah.
So it went quite green on me, which meant the IWM dropped. So I got out of all of it basically, and then the markets came ripping back. And we'll talk about that later, but I think you have an interesting slide coming up here that kind of shows where the breakdown was on where GDP was positive and where it was negative.
Yeah. I mean, this meme was hilarious. Stock market today and the GDP reports. I mean, I found that really, really funny. But yeah, you know, we went live with Andrew and we were talking about, you know, the formula for GDP is government spending, private sector spending, personal consumption, and net import, which is export minus import. And, you know, with US dollar being so strong, there was a huge trade deficit that really dragged down the GDP. Otherwise, everything else was looking really, really healthy. So I think this was the slide you were talking about. So, I mean, that could be kind of a theory. I mean, hindsight is always 20/20. But to me, this feels like the best explanation of, you know, consumer is still really strong. Business spending is still really strong. Inventories are going down. So this trade deficit could be a strength in US dollar, could be, you know, recession in Europe, China, all of that stuff could play a role.
There is something interesting that because of the war in Ukraine and the fact that they cannot control Putin as a nuclear power, a lot of people believe that there is a phenomenon starting called reverse globalization. Mm-hmm. You know, Euro has to reduce their trade with Russia, even if after the peace comes, they cannot get themselves into this mess one more time. And maybe this is for US again, that you have to start thinking that China is not a reliable business partner or even alliance alliance in the world peace. So that could be a contributor to that as well.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. You've looked, I think this whole, call it the China effect, even goes back further a year or two, where people were looking at their exposure to China with the first go around with COVID,
yeah.
and they were starting to think, we're starting to reassess how reliant everybody is on China and as a producing nation for basically almost for the world.
Yeah.
And so a lot of companies were talking about shifting some of their production to Vietnam. Indonesia's the latest one. So, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we shouldn't be relying on one particular country, particularly a country like China, for all of production, depending on the for the global economy. So.
I mean, in the beginning of COVID, I remember there was a huge mask shortage in the US, right? So, and we know like 90% of the PPE stuff were coming from China, and it was a big deal. It was like a huge national security.
Yeah.
And I think Trump did, the Defense Act that would force the manufacturing to like produce things that are not.
Probably.
Yeah.
That was quite a surprise for it. But like energy for Europe is another big issue that they have to diversify. If Putin cut off the natural gas, which he did to Poland and another country,
Belarus.
The Belarus is the
Bulgaria?
Bulgaria. Belarus is actually a partner with Putin.
Yeah.
Then Germany definitely can go to recession very, very soon, a very heavy recession, and they have to figure this thing out. And natural gas is not easy to replace because the pipelines that are there. You have to fixing that. But the reverse globalization is happening, and that's what I'm expecting that. Soon impact all the businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think again you mentioned another factor in the U.S. dollar, and we've been commenting on this in the room, and I've been just watching it in the swing trade videos. The U.S. dollar is absolutely crushing other currencies. Yeah. It's at I think I heard this morning it's at or near the 20-year high compared to some of the other currencies, the major currencies like the yen and the euro.
Wow.
So it's incredible. And of course, that's going to hurt their export market as well, because if people are buying in U.S. dollars are more expensive. So
it basically reduces their spending.
Spending. Maybe they look at other countries for.
Generally, a strong currency, it's not good for exports.
Not good for exports at all. Yeah. So that's could be another contributing factor for all this.
Brian, do you think kind of economy contracting, would it slow down the Fed, or you think Fed's not going to care about that? They're going to continue these really fast, aggressive rate hikes?
I think they're going to be watching some, obviously we've got the May meeting and most people are expecting a half-point increase.
Yeah.
They do tend to watch, they will be watching inflation numbers as they come out. There is one coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's this core consumer price expenditures index.
Yeah, so I got it right here in
Don't quote me on that one, but the
correct,
acronym. Yeah. But that is apparently one that they do watch pretty closely. And so, I think, one of the women on the Fed were talking about, they're going to be reacting to what they see in terms of inflation numbers that come out. So you've got the May meeting, and then I think there's a couple of inflation indicators that come out between the next potential raise. So I mean, if inflation really starts to cool, then maybe they'll look at a quarter point or half point at most. People are worried now they're going to go 3/4 at the next one. So I think, like they keep saying, they're going to be data dependent, and that's what they're going to be watching. They've got a couple reads before the next increase after this coming one.
Yeah, that's good, at least that they're looking at the data and making the decision.
Yeah, 100%. They have to. They have no choice unless they do this, and that's definitely on their agenda.
Yeah. So, I'm in trading terminal right now, and when you come to our calendar, if you go to the economic calendar, then you can see all the stuff Brian was talking about, like the core PCE numbers that are coming out tomorrow, right here. You can, go back next week or go forward next week, or, look at previous stuff. So really, really useful tool. Definitely a lot of stuff. Shall we switch gears and go to earnings? Talk a little bit about earnings. Yeah. So Facebook had their earnings yesterday. PayPal, a lot of heavy hitters. Apple, Amazon sold off. Apple went up a little bit, but then sold off a little bit. Visa, MasterCard, tons of name came out. Gentlemen, who's going first? What are your overall thoughts? Brian?
Well, I mean, Apple seemed to surprise a little bit to the upside. They, people initially were happy, but then I think as Cook came on, he talked about, not surprisingly, some some supply chain constraints, and with stuff that's going on in China right now. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but there's just some crazy stuff going on where people are being locked up and not allowed to leave their homes, and and I guess they're trapped in an apartment building, and then they're in quarantine for 14 days, and if one person in their entire building tests for COVID positive, they get locked up for another 14 days. So people have been in this cycle, have been locked up for weeks, and
almost 2 months.
Yeah, people are going crazy. But I mean, it just shows you how how you can imagine the impact this is having on a lot of the we talked about the reliance on China as a manufacturing hub. I mean, this is really kind of affecting that. So it's not surprising that they're warning on that. So.
Yeah, definitely crazy. Any surprises for you, Andrew, in the earnings season?
I mean, you couldn't tell because today was a strong day. Apple was like 5% before the earnings call, and now what happened after hours, you can't really say that. Yeah. Facebook held a strong earning that they had. Tomorrow is a lot of energy companies are going to reporting, like Eni's there, Exxon, Chevron.
Yeah, you've got Phillips, Exxon, Chevron.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. They're probably going to report some pretty good numbers, is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I came across something I think it was interesting, and we talked about it when we went on live. This is from Visa. Visa is a credit card company, consumer spending. The CEO quite optimistic. Discretionary spending, especially from affluent consumers and credit card holders, has been going up quite healthily. So it seems like things are good. Polaris, this is another point of sale company. Again, inventory remains record low, and I think Credit Suisse came up with a stat in terms of earning that I had it somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. Roughly 50% of S&P 500 has reported 76% topping projection, and this is something you've been saying, Brian, right, for quite some times now. You're like, despite the market sell-off, consumers are still really strong. Yeah.
There's still lots of money. There's consumers, have not been spending over the, and partly because, like for example, Polaris. I mean, they make recreational vehicles. I mean, I've talked to some people who buy those things, and they said that, you can't. You go in the store, you can't get one. And a lot of it is obviously supply chain, but the demand is still there. So. Yeah.
So the wealth effect, I discussed that in the chat room today. I read that Bloomberg article that one big way to control inflation is to make sure that people feel that they shouldn't spend as much. And the number one thing that people look is that their home equity. And every time they go to Zillow and they say, oh, my home is another 20% up, they feel rich and they spend more. And if they need money, they can refinance based on the equity that they have. Yeah. And that is unlikely to come down anytime soon because of the shortages of homes in America. So it's not easy to make people, understand that they're not as rich as before because their home equity is still high. Yeah. And that makes the Federal Reserve job much more complicated. Even increasing the interest rate is still, meaningfully people think rich.
Yeah, with the house.
I know you have a really good house in a very good neighborhood, so your property value has gone up. And I'm sure once in a while you look at, okay, if I do this, I still have this $5 million house that I can do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends where you are, but there's. I'm not in a position where I have to look at my equity to decide whether I'm going to buy something, go buy something. But I know you're right on with that. I mean, people do equate their wealth or their well-being to, the equity they have in their home and the ability to finance against that. The only thing you can say about that is, where, interest rates are starting to creep up. At what point are people sort of on the edge of, borrowing and getting into a little bit of trouble? And we've seen that happen before.
Airlines are not selling off, and that's a very interesting part.
No, and travel is coming. There's a lot of pent up demand for travel, and airlines are doing well. So, there still seems to be lots of propensity to want to continue to spend money, the consumer.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Brian, you said you're not in a place to, look at your equity to make purchasing decision. I am. So this morning I looked at my portfolio. I'm like, I can afford a cup of coffee. so I had a Starbucks.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh,
it was
good.
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you ever want me to buy you Starbucks, just
It's amazing that how the mood of people are correlated to the market.
Yeah.
It's for me 100%. When I am in market is an all-time high, so I buy this business class and I go through.
Yeah.
And if it's not, maybe economy is not right.
Maybe the middle city is not too bad, Yeah.
But we're involved in the markets, and I can't recall a statistic of actually how many people in the U.S. actually are involved in the market.
Yeah. I think it was less than 50%.
Yeah, I think it's less than 50%. Yeah. So you can say, there is a lot of wealth in the market for that 50%, but there, for other 50% that are living
an easier life.
Yeah,
they don't
they don't have anything to worry about.
I was walking and I said, a lot of these people don't know about the collapse of Netflix or what's happening.
No.
In
The yield inversion, the bond market,
backward inversion,
Yeah.
and they might have a much easier life.
So let's go to, this is the next week. We talked about travel and demand. Expedia is reporting, Airbnb is reporting. So these two could really be telling in terms of spending. Starbucks having a really rough year is reporting. Down what?
AMD is there. Going to be fun trading.
AMD is going to be there.
Tuesday.
Yes, and then of course Shopify and Square on Thursday. These two also really beaten down. Could be really interesting. Any specific earnings you're looking
Uber
to?
has always been fun. Moderna is there.
Yeah, Moderna, Uber. Yeah.
Yeah, the big names are coming. What else do we have?
Sherwood-Williams, that'll be a read on the consumer.
Yeah.
Pfizer is reporting on Tuesday too. But Pfizer has always been difficult to trade because it's just a lot of institutional trading and it's just
NYSE.
so hard.
Yeah,
It is hard. Yeah. Did you guys know Monster is one of the best performing stocks of the last decade?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. Fun fact of today.
Fun fact of today.
Yeah, Monster, the energy drink company, is up 5,000% in the last 10 years.
Start a drink company.
We should start drinking. So covered a lot about market. Let's go into a little bit of a chit chat. A lot has happened in terms of Twitter and overall market. So Elon actually bought it. Last time we were having a conversation, the deal wasn't actually true yet. But Elon has at least put an offer forward. Is it non-binding? I don't know if it's non-binding or binding.
I think it's there's a breakup fee now.
There's a breakup fee.
$1 billion breakup fee.
Yeah.
So if either party decides to walk,
Yeah.
It's going to cost them $1 billion. $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's a very big.
That's a big. So it is definitely binding.
well, maybe not. You never know. I mean, if you look at the market, you look at where did it go out today? 49.
49.
That's still a 10% discount on what the quote buyout price is. So the market's still somewhat skeptical
Yeah.
that he's going to be able to put this together.
He said, now I'm going to buy McDonald's and fix all the ice cream machines, because the ice cream machines are always broken.
Yeah.
And then he said, next I'm buying Coca-Cola to put the cocaine back in. Like, he's been extra funny, and I don't know. I think he really underestimated how hard it is to run a social platform.
He got sued for a couple of tweets. With SEC, he spent a lot of money on settlements and lawsuits. And now imagine you own this platform and you have to deal with all of these situations. You go bankrupt really soon. The legal fees alone just kill this company.
Yeah.
That explains sort of the Tesla reaction too. I mean, I think shareholders in Tesla aren't very happy.
Yeah.
It's the only explanation I can have for the way Tesla's really been selling off.
Yeah.
He's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, he's got this boring company. This is Elon, like you said, this is Elon being Elon. I mean, you and I have talked about this. I just think he just craves attention. He just cannot stand it when people aren't looking at him and talking about him, and that these, kind of explains why these stupid tweets. He just constantly wanting people to pay attention to him.
Yeah, there's one thing. He's he's the richest person on the planet. But that's something very interesting is that he wakes up and says, I want to do something, and he does it. And so far, it's been working for him. I mean, yes, he had ups and downs, but it's working.
Yeah.
Like one day I woke up and said, I want to be a trader. And it wasn't an easy path, but I did, One day we started, let's build Bearable Traders together.
Yeah.
We didn't know that we're going to grow successful or something. It's
Yeah.
just we did it. And maybe this is the attitude that we should have. I'm actually very happy that I'm alive to see this in real time, see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What is this story? Can he succeed? If he can succeed, then why not us? It's just proving to us that just go after, even if it's so hard.
Yeah.
And if it's expensive, $45 billion is very expensive, even for Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So it means that just go after your dream. If it's successful, that's a really good message that we're witnessing history.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone is really questioning his ingenuity and of him being such a great entrepreneur. And it's definitely interesting. We're mostly commenting on everything that is happening. One thing is, initially he filed a 13G when he took that 10% position. 13G filing is usually for when you want to have a passive form.
You're not active.
But not active. But now that he's bought, there were a bunch of transcript that was released that says, Morgan Stanley and the banks that were providing the financing asked him, hey, this company doesn't make any money. How do you want to pay us back with all the interest payment? And he said he's going to do really aggressively in terms of job cuts, and he want to run a profitable business. You know how he first, in the beginning, he said it's mostly about freedom of speech, but at least to the bankers, he said he's more concerned about running a profitable business. So I saw this meme, and I thought it's hilarious. It's like Elon Musk there in his first town hall running Twitter, you're all fired. Just coming in and saying, you guys are all fired. So that's another interesting thing. And if the sales happen, the CEO of Twitter will get like $30 million or
$40 million.
$40 million.
That's part of the package.
Yeah.
Parag.
So this is what I saw as well. Parag, after working 2 months as Twitter CEO, doing absolutely nothing and getting a $39 million payout. It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Well, if you imagine half of that money is going to be taxes, it's still $20 million. Cash in your pocket,
and he's young too. What is he, like 40 years old? 40
yeah,
something?
it's probably around that.
Yeah.
It must be late 30s.
Yeah.
Good for him, and it's interesting to see. I know in the town hall meeting that they had, there was a lot of cries and uncertainty.
Yeah.
A lot of senior executive, especially the head of safety and verification. There's a lady that I don't remember her name, and she was saying that the future is in jeopardy. So she's so pessimistic about what Elon Musk had, and she's in the frontier of all of these freedom of speech control. So they are very skeptical about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're getting to be older movies now, but they're still relevant. The ones like Social Dilemma, the influence that social media has had, and how it's it's not really bringing us together. It's more tearing us apart.
Yeah.
Into little silos. So I mean, this is just another sort of debate in the broader picture of where social media is going to fit into our society going forward, and how if there is any way to control it or stop it. So.
Yeah, definitely. Social Dilemma is a really good documentary.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix. If you still have your Netflix subscription, definitely check that out.
Call your friends and get the password.
Password.
Yeah. Well, you still can.
Yeah. I mean, tons of stuff to talk about, but I can't finish the show without talking about this and his beef with Bill Gates. So Bill Gates had a short position in Tesla. Still has, apparently, from his text messages. He said he didn't leak the text messages, but I don't know who would leak the text messages to New York Times, where Bill Gates asked for some, donation in some of the philanthropy project, and Elon said, if you're shorting Tesla, you're kind of betting against environment, you're a hypocrite. He didn't say that, but that's pretty much what he meant, and he doesn't want to work. Well, Bill Gates definitely made a lot of money this week shorting Tesla.
100%.
What is this fight of billionaires? What's going on?
Oh, I mean, this isn't the first time Elon's gotten upset about people shorting his stock. I mean, I remember this whole 420 thing came up was because there were a lot of people shorting his stock, and he really wanted to squeeze them. That's why he came out with that tweet that said, I'm taking it private, 420 secure, and of course, as it turns out, wasn't secured, and that's what got him in trouble with the SEC, like you talked about. But he's got a long history of getting angry at people that bet against him. So I mean, this is just that.
This absolutely, there's no problem with that message. I think he did it on purpose to show that that's the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And U.S. Constitution allows that, and that's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Maybe he doesn't have the manner to respect one of the, pioneers of technology entrepreneurship, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with make a joke, and I'm sure Bill Gates can take a joke. The way that he did it in the battle of Twitter freedom of speech, I think that was a lesson into that he said. But regardless, I think Elon Musk is definitely, worries too much about people shorting the stock. You just focus on what you're building, and why don't make it personal? There's nothing personal. But more than anything else, I wonder, what the hell Bill Gates doing shorting a company? Is he a trader now? I mean, shorting is really, he should put this money to work toward building and creating, rather than finding a company and try to benefit from its downturn. I'm surprised that they're doing this.
Bill Gates obviously is an extremely wealthy person, so I know he's giving a lot of that money to philanthropic causes already, and I'm sure he's got he's got his nest egg, and he's got financial advisors and he's probably pretty active. Knowing Bill Gates. Yeah. He's probably pretty active in terms of directing what they should be doing. So I guess he's just thinking that Tesla stock is, it's obviously an amazing company, but it's overvalued. I don't know what the PE ratio is on it now.
70 probably.
Yeah, it's like really high, and high PE stocks are getting beat up. So, it's just the market, right? Like you said, you shouldn't take it personally, but.
Exactly. Maybe I should reach out to Bill Gates on some risk management and maybe bring him to BBT. BBT.
You should take the boot camp.
What is your stop loss, Mr. Gates?
Let's see if we can get him on next week.
Next week, yeah. We still got one spot left specifically for Mr. Gates. Yeah. Well, man, when I'm preparing this stuff, I always feel like I might run out of material, but thanks to Elon Musk, we'll never run out of material to talk about in After Hours with Traders. Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for coming, Brian. Thank you, as always, being sharp, being on time. Andrew, thanks for...
Yeah, thank you. What's your plan for the weekend?
I'm training. I'm just trying to get in shape for this Machu Picchu hike.
Nice.
So, climbing hills.
So next week I'm going to Portugal, to Azores Islands for a race, May 6th, and I'm staying 1 week to do more trail running. On Sunday I'm going to go to the mountains, do some mountaineering, ski mountaineering in BC. Still lots of snow mountain up there. I probably skip trading on Monday morning, but
okay, well, good. Sounds like an action-packed weekend for you.
Action-packed weekend for me.
Yeah. Exciting time.
Good. And you're recovering from your hangover?
Yeah. I can't drink like I used to. I'm tired. Yeah, I'm going to take it easy. Well, thanks everyone. If you like the channel, definitely like, subscribe. We're going live now. We're doing a lot of stuff. So definitely make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any action. And we'll see you on Monday in the chat room.
Yeah, thank you guys. If you have any questions, comments, put them on the comments and we discuss them later in the next week. Definitely like and subscribe to our channel, and happy trading.
Happy trading, everybody.
Bye. See ya.